Hi there, welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I'm Carla,
And I'm Melanie.
and today we are talking about our top 9 Western themed games.
Yes.
We live in the West.
Yep. Yeah,
We are
honestly.
literally in the prairies.
I had a
Not,
cattle farm for, 14 years.
there you
So
go.
lived
I'm
on
in
the
a
farm. Yeah.
city and always
Yeah.
dreamed of living on a farm. My uncle had a farm and I went there every summer and I never wanted to come home. I loved the country life and
Yeah.
I'm jealous that you got to live that because it's so awesome.
Yeah. No,
But
it's a neat
yeah,
lifestyle for sure.
so we decided to do, yeah, our Western themed games. Um, I wouldn't say there's a whole ton of them, or I just haven't played a whole ton of them. I think they could make more of this theme, because it's not an overly
Yeah.
done theme, I don't think. Like they
Like,
went
I
hard
don't know
on.
that I would think, oh, geez, there's so little of these. But I mean, it's like when we did our first pirate game and I didn't have nine, I had to go buy some. I didn't have to go buy Western games.
No.
But I guess it's not. I mean, like, you've got the really popular one that you think Western obviously comes to mind. Um, but I suppose it could be represented more.
Yeah, I think so. I enjoy it. I just like the whole idea of it, because there's so much you could do with the farming of it, the
Yes.
wrangling of cattle, just the shooting up, like, Western theme of everything. So there's such a variety. I have a variety of games that do different things in that genre. And there's some that aren't on my list that are also really good too, that I would love to play
Mm,
again. Hopefully
yes.
they're on your list.
Well, no, I did my list, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, we should call people that should play this."
Yeah, I know, because they're so good. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, let's get our presentation up here.
So
Um,
before we talk about that, we always talk about a game we've just played recently and enjoyed.
mhm.
And I'm going to start it off. And my game that I've played recently is called Windmill Valley. Now, this one I missed on my spring list. I don't know why I didn't consider this game for spring.
Oh, I
It's
guess that totally
totally
fits.
dripping and spring themed, but I
Yeah.
didn't even think of it. And it's funny because as I was posting pictures of playing, spring games and things like that, after I think we had done the list,
Yeah.
someone had commented in our Discord, "Oh, that's one of my favorite spring games," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that should have been on my list because I love this game." This is a
Mm,
Danny Garcia game, who's a fairly new designer. I've loved almost everything he's made so far, and he makes completely different games. So what this one is about is you are basically tulip farmers, and you are, going around, trying to gather tulips, plant them, complete kind of like contract idea, like well, just one main contract you're kind of racing to. You are gathering two different types of people. I'm trying to think of the workers go on top of your board, and then the bottom are specialists, I believe. So you're using these cards in multi-use ways as well. The workers are going to give you like an in-game bonus, and then the bottom is going to be kind of an end-game point thing. Now, how you do your actions is neat because it has these little
mm.
wheels. Everybody has the same wheel, and they have the same actions to start with, but they are kind of scattered differently on each person's wheel. And on one side, you have all the same 5 actions, which is a smaller wheel, and on the left, you have 6 actions, which is a bigger wheel. And you're going to turn them, and you choose how much you want to turn them. Now, when you choose that, you're going to either open the water gates of the dam, I'm assuming, and depending how much you move, if you move up higher, you have to pay to do that, but you get points. And then you would move your dial, either 1, 2, or 3 times. The faster you move the dial, the quicker the game is going to go, because 4 times, as soon as somebody makes it 4 times around on their dial, that really triggers the end of the game. So typically the first, 5 or 6 turns, everybody wants to do everything on their dial because it's 6 different actions.
Mm-hmm.
And what the actions do is one of them is just to purchase an upgrade that can go on your dial. And then when you come to it, it'll be a better action than what you started with. That's a popular one because as you do that, sometimes you get one of the little upgrades that has a plus on it. And then that means you get to choose or you get to do both sides of the dial, whereas typically you only get to do one side. So if I had a plus, I'd get to do whatever's there and on the right hand side, depending where I put the new upgrade. I could put it on the left hand side as well.
Right.
Now, another action is you can hire a worker or specialist, and those are the cards that you're going to choose from. You can go to the market, and that's how you're going to get tulips and plant them. So you kind of move around this little rondelle in the middle of the main board, which will let you collect tulips of certain colors depending where you go. And it's neat because it depends how many worker dials are there or worker chips. Well, that will depend the value of your action. So you can also pay to move a neutral one if you're in a 3-player or less to move to a spot so that when you move there, it'll give you an extra power for that. And so that's how mostly how you're going to plant or gather tulips. Now on your little player board, you have these rows and like a grid basically, and you're going to try to put tulips in there in a kind of a pattern. You're going to try to have in your rows have all the same color and in columns have all different colors. And that's going to give you different points at the end of the game if you complete rows and columns. Most of them are positive points, but in the columns, if you ever have like colors, you're going to end up with negative points. So you're really trying to map and puzzle that out. Another action you can do is you can do international shipping, I believe it's called. And you go to this card in the middle of the board and you'll place a tulip there and it'll give you 2 actions wherever you place the tulip. There's 4 actions and then so in a cross point you'll place a tulip. And it has to be a different color than that's already there. Or if there's a bunch of tulips there, you could just take them. So that's that action. And then I think there's another one to put out your windmills. Now this is kind of how you're going to get some real big end game points. You're going to place there. You have these windmills on your board, and they're all next to a certain color of tulip. So depending on what color tulips you're planting, you're going to want to take those windmills and plant them on the big board. And where you place them, you're going to get several actions with them. 2 or 3 actions actually. There might be some spots that give you 4 actions, but you always have to start out in the central, like next to the central market, and kind of span out from there. You can span off of other people's windmills, but then you're going to end up paying them to do that. And the juicier places are, of course, near the edges of the board. So the place that you'll end up later on. The initial ones only give you like 2 different actions. But it's a really neat little engine building game because as you place your workers, those abilities can really, you can build a really cool engine because one of them might be every time you plant, you get to do this. Like you get to take a tulip, and then another card you might have every time you take a tulip, you get to do this. So if you kind of plan it right, some of your turns can turn into like a whole combo fantastic turn. It's just a really neat game, and I've played it not enough. I've played it a couple times and then I came back to it again just recently. Taught Kayla this game. She enjoyed it. Tried it solo. It's a trickier solo game because there's certain actions that the solo player does, which I don't love because you kind of have to look at a sheet. Okay, this is what they do when this happens kind of thing.
Oh, right.
But it is a really fun multiplayer game. And it's very spring-like. I don't know how I missed this one, but that's my game I'm talking about is Windmill Valley.
Yeah, that
It
was
does
a
have,
cool one. I
oh yeah,
did
you
like the
did play
action
that.
selection with like the turning wheels and then which one to upgrade. And they
Mhm.
don't all line up at the same time. Like so
Yeah.
it
And
was it
if
was
you
cool.
look at the game board, it kind of looks like a generic roll and move game. Like it has sort of that look to it at first, but it really has nothing to do with that at all.
No, yeah. Yeah. Super cool game. Good pick. All right. My recent play is I actually was volunteering for FallCon this week because FallCon had been asked by Game Expo to kind of run a game room. So I went there and helped out with that. And then we would teach games to people that came over. We brought in like a small library. And one of the games that I ended up playing that I had not played before was Excalibur, which is one of Roxley's latest game. Now, the version we played was not the like super deluxe version. And because we didn't have the metal swords, otherwise these little swords are metal swords, and these just get placed on the table. I found this picture on the Roxley website. Like I don't think there's like a round board unless the deluxe version. Like I said, we didn't have that. We just had like the cardboard swords, which still looked amazing. And then like it sits inside the box. You lift the box, you pull out the sword, you pull out the other swords. And that just kind of creates the board a little bit, creates these 3 different areas. I want to point out, as it was pointed out to me, if you have the deluxe version, do not put that in your carry-on if you're traveling, because they won't allow these little mini metal swords on the plane.
Oh, really?
So, apparently. But you have all of these like tokens, and on the backside they all have like they're just have all the same back, and then you've kind of randomly put them in these 3 different sections, and then certain ones are handed out because there's 3 swords in there. You have Excalibur, you have the tainted or the cursed sword, and then you have the squire's sword. And in this game, at the end, whoever has Excalibur wins. But if they have Excalibur and the tainted or the cursed sword, everybody else wins. If you have the cursed swords, you lose. If somebody has the Excalibur and the person next to them has the squire sword, they win. So it was like all of these different things into play. And what happens, like on your turn, you look at your token and you're going to place one, and everybody reveals at the same time. And you can have like a peasant, you can have a thief, you can have a merchant, you can have all these like different roles, but you can have like these specialty kind of Merlin or King Arthur kind of specific characters that'll do something a little bit different, right? As well, you can have Morgana, you can have like the Lady of the Lake or different things like that. And it will allow you to trade tokens, steal tokens, and different things. And you're just going to be shifting these tokens between what you have in front of you, or drawing from what's in the middle, or trading or stealing from the others. And you're trying to get yourself in a position where you have Excaliburs in order to win, basically. But you also kind of trying to bluff a little bit, because if I steal Excalibur, then we know, like that person knows I've taken Excalibur. It's possible that it was revealed at some point that they had Excalibur, and then now I'm the target. Everybody's trying to steal from me. Like, wait, let me shift these tokens around so you don't quite know. And then they'll take a token, and then it's like, hey, well, did they steal Excalibur? Like, who has Excalibur now? Should I try to steal from that person, or should I try to steal from this person? Do they still have Excalibur? And who has the cursed swords? Because we don't want to accidentally, ideally, steal that one. And you're doing this until, in the number of player, like until 2 of the sections where their swords are emptied out, that triggers the end. And then you reveal, and then whoever has Excalibur, as long as they don't have the cursed swords, would win the game. Like, it was really interesting.
How many people can play this?
I don't know. We played.
I'll look it up.
We were 5, I think. We were 5 players. I don't know what it goes up to. I think it would be one that could facilitate a fairly larger group.
It's a brand new one. Right?
Sorry?
2 to 8.
2 to 8.
Yeah, it's a brand new game.
That's a nice range, actually. Yeah, it's one that like I had seen. I didn't really know much about it. I had dismissed it. I never backed it. I didn't buy it. I've seen it around. I was like, nah, I don't know. I think I'm okay. I have no idea what this is about. And now I want it. So it was like it would fit in my mind like as a party game, like weight wise, but it was interesting. It kind of like, to me, it fits in like Coup or Avalon,
Okay,
or
yeah,
like it fits in that
that's cool.
category of games. Like, but it was really neat. I quite enjoy it. So eventually I probably will have it. But
So that's Manny Tremblay, the designer, and so
yeah, so
he
Manny
did.
Tremblay designed it and did the artwork, and it's a really neat game.
Is he the designer of?
Dice Throw.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, so it was a really, really cool game. Um, and one that I, for some reason, had dismissed and now have regrets. But that was
it'll
my
it'll
recent play, Excalibur.
it'll make it to you
It'll
someday.
turn up. I can get a copy. I will.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
doubts that at all. So,
Yeah. That's
all
perfect for
right.
your family or your game nights, like when you have locals and lots of
Exactly, right?
people.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
one that I think, with who I play with more regularly, this is one that I
Mhm.
think would hit the table easy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we are going to start our 9 Western games. Now, my first one, I feel like is going to be a crossover with you. Yours might be higher up because you get to play this a lot more than me. And this is Bang the Dice game. So this one is a nice, easy rule game where you can play. This plays quite a higher player count too. I can't see on there what it says, but I think it's
I
like
think it plays
8.
8 as well.
8, yeah. So this is another one like similar, maybe a little bit longer than the one you played if you played at a full player count, but still not like
Mm.
a super long game. So you all just are handed a card and it's a character, and you're gonna play that role. And the different roles are sheriff, bandit, um, what's the outlaw,
So you have like the
um,
sheriff, the deputy, the
deputy. That's the one
outlaw,
I'm thinking of.
and then the renegade.
Renegade, right. Okay. And so then if there's more players, there's a couple outlaws and a couple bandits, I believe, or a couple renegades. But anyway, the sheriff does have to reveal who they are. And basically, the sheriff is trying to kill all the outlaws and renegades, the and bandits, I would guess. And then I think the outlaws need to all survive. The renegade needs to survive alone. The bandit needs to survive alone. And the deputy is just there to support the sheriff. So if they complete their mission, they basically win. Now, how they do that is they also have like another little player they get to play as, like Calamity Jane or different types of Western characters that kind of give them ability in the game. You don't
Hmm.
have to play with those. I think we always have,
We always do. It's
but
kind of
yeah,
cool,
it's just
but
fun
yeah.
because you get to do something that nobody else does. But what you do is you roll these dice, and there's 5 of them in the base game, and you can roll them up to 3 times, like in Yahtzee, and they all have different sides to them. So there's the bullets, or the green. What would they call them? Like they're the
Like the Gatling
shots.
gun?
The green ones.
Yeah, the Gatling guns.
That's actually when you're shooting somebody, right? That's
Oh, the targets, you mean?
yeah, the targets.
Right.
So, and then you have the beer, the dynamite, the arrows, and then you have
The,
like the bullseye kind of thing. So they each kind of do a different thing, and depending what you want to accomplish, like you might just want to be shooting people. So you may want to try to get those little bullseyes because whatever number's in the middle, that's how far of range that you can shoot, meaning
Mhm.
beside you on either sides, not across. The beer, now I forget what the beer does. Oh, it gives you back
Beer's
health.
health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beer's health. Arrows, when those come up, that kind of signifies you grab an arrow from the middle. And when all the arrows from the middle are gone, that's going to,
Turn into
the Indians
damage.
are going to attack. And depending how many you have. Now I'm forgetting. I haven't played this in so long. You'll hopefully do a better explanation when comes your time here, but it's just a neat like roll your dice game. Yahtzee like that you do a quick turn and you have life, which are these bullets, these little chits that are bullets, and you're just basically trying to survive the longest or complete your kind of mission. And people are going to try and kill you, and you're going to try and kill people and try to maybe protect other people. But it's just one of those neat, it's a take that game, definitely is. But when you're all doing the same thing and it's a quick one, it is an elimination game, so people can become eliminated, which I mean, I don't usually love that type of game, but it's so quick. And if you do have the expansion, I forget what it's called, but the first person out comes back as a ghost. And I can't
Nice.
even remember what their mission is, but they get to be back in the game and they try to probably just kill the sheriff. I can't even remember, but it's a really cool little dice game that I don't get to play enough. But the last time I played with my family, they actually did like it. And I played
Oh,
with not
nice.
just my family, but like my brother. Well, he's my family too, but my extended family, my brother and his wife, and everybody really liked it. So I'm going to definitely pull that one out again. So that's Bang the Dice Game.
Yes, that's such a good one. This is another one that I would think would fit in that Excalibur like, because you got the
Yes.
secret identity and you got, but it kind of adds the dice rolling aspect that makes this whole
Yeah.
thing kind of a little unique to the other styles. But
Everyone
yeah,
loves
great game.
rolling and chucking
Now,
dice.
and Outlaws and Bandits aren't both in the game. I just realized I found a French copy here, so it's Bondy. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
why
I
it
was
doesn't
like,
say outlaw.
well, what does that last card, the red one, say?
I
Something
don't
loser.
know.
I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I think it's a French copy that I have on here,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah. So no, in English it would say renegade.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't
but
remember.
yeah,
Was that say
great,
bootlegger?
great
No, but
game.
I don't remember a bootlegger in there.
Oh, that's funny. But like honestly, how Western is this one? This one
Yeah.
would so fit this theme. All righty. My number 9, and I don't really remember, so let's go have a peek. And that is No Mercy. I had a hard time finding this one. And I'm like, oh, No Mercy, it's so good. That's like nice Western, but it's on BGG as fruit salad or fruit something.
Oh,
It's
really?
because No Mercy is a remake of this other game. Let me go see what it is.
Oh.
It is called Fruit Fight, the
Oh,
original
okay.
version, but it's been remade into No Mercy. This is a Reiner Knizia game, and it's a push your luck game, and it's a really fun push your luck game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, the artwork in this one all has different Western-like characters. Each characters have a different number assigned to them, and then the number is like in a poker chip on the card, like the art. But you're gonna flip a card, and then you can flip another card. And a little bit like flip 7 is you're trying not to flip a duplicate. But 1 is going to be worth 1 point, 10 is going to be worth 10 points. So if you see a 10, you'd be like, oh, that's a lot of point. I might stop. Right. But you don't collect these until your turn comes along again. And if you have the cards in front of you, then you would flip them all face down and they're collected points. However, Western, we have robbers and stuff. So if one person flips a 10, the next person flips a 10, they have the option of taking all the face up 10s on the table. And they will. So like, oh, I got a 10, so I'm going to take your 10. Now I've got a stack of 20. I'm going to stop. Right. And then the other one is like flipping. Is like, well, I have a 2, and then I'll flip again. Okay, I have an 8. Well, 8's good, but I kind of want those 10s. So maybe flipper is like, oh, I got a 10 now. I steal your 10s. And then I got 30 points in front of me. And then could be that next person was like, keeps like, well, maybe I'll keep going a little bit. And then they bust. And then all those 10s are going and discarded, right? Like, so you're trying not to bust. You're trying to collect as many points as you can. And at the same time, still points from the other players. It's such a fun game. I have played with my friend Justin because it was his copy that first. And the first time we played, he busted every time. He pushed his luck so much, he ended up with a score of 0. It was hilarious. But it's a neat game. It's one that's so easy to teach. It'll appeal to a really big crowd. Like it's heavy gamers will enjoy this one. Brand new players, it's simple enough to learn. And it's just one that suits a wide variety of players. And it's my number 9, No Mercy or Fruit Fight.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked this. This was my number 10. So
Oh, nice.
it was
Yeah.
hard to not have this on my list because it's such a quick,
It
neat
fits the
game
theme
as
so
well.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. All right, so my number 8 is have you ever had one of those games where you've had it, owned it, and loved it, and then you ended up selling it? This is my
No,
game. Well,
I don't do that.
the good news is it went to a good friend, so I will get to play it
Oh,
again.
okay.
But this is Dicetown. I sold you Dicetown, I'm pretty sure.
You did. You sold that to me.
Yeah, I think I sold it because my family was just kind of done with it. I don't know if I overplayed
Right.
it but like who cares? I'm going to start not getting rid of games because my family's not going to play it anymore. But anyway, it went to a good home. I went to Mel, but
Yes, it did. And
this
you know it's
game
going to
is
be with me a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's safe. It's safe when when Mel has it, you know it's going to be safe and it's not going to leave. So this one is another dice chucker, which is neat, but really has a poker theme to it. So when I think of westerns, a lot of time I think of poker too. I don't know why. I guess it's just something they did, in the saloons.
Yeah,
And
100%.
this one is neat because you are rolling dice. Everybody has a handful of dice, and they have these little cups. And so you're going to shake these cups and flip your dice, and you're going to choose one of them. You might not want any of them, or you might want more. Now, if you want one extra, you're going to have to pay $1. If you want none, you're going to have to pay $1. If you want two that you have there, two extra, you're going to pay $3. So basically $1 for everything you want to change. Now, if you just want the one dice, you keep the one dice and then you're going to roll the rest and then keep one and keep going until all your dice are chosen. And the thing is, you can see what everybody else has chose because everybody's going to take one dice kind of thing and then two. So you kind of know what everybody else is sort of going for and then you're going to go for it. Now, what's on these dice is neat because it has like jacks, queens, and kings and aces and tens. And then it must have nines on the other pip, right? Because there's 6 pips. So you're trying to get poker hands with this. Basically, the best poker hand you can, unless you're going for something different in the town there, because after you have your or your dice all rolled, then you kind of go through the town left to right, and you're going to do these actions. So like the gold might be, I don't know for sure, but it might be like whoever has the most tens gets to go digging for gold kind of thing. And then you're going to either take gold or you're going to take a gold card. The next one, I think is just the
I think
bank.
it's 10 because I think
Yeah,
gold is
tens.
9, 10 is the bank, and yeah.
But isn't it only 10, 11, 12, 1? Oh, yeah. So 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 9, 10, jack, queen, king, ace. So I think
Yeah.
those are what's on there. Yeah. So then the bank, I can't remember which one it is, but they each have a certain thing. There's one where you can take cards from the general store, and those kind of will either be points or like some kind of set collection thing or like an end game thing. There's you can get the sheriff badge, which is really nice because that will break ties. So
Yeah.
if you are ever tied at an area, the sheriff will choose, and it doesn't even matter if they're not there, they get to choose. So if they are there, obviously they're going to choose themselves. You can go to the town hall and collect cards. Now, I can't remember what the town hall. Oh, those are people, right? Those are different characters at the town hall.
Is it the saloon has
The
the
saloon. Oh, the
saloon has
saloon
the
has the
people, I
characters.
think, and the town hall has like the different buildings, and those
Buildings,
have
right?
more like a set collection
Those are set collections.
aspect.
And
Yeah.
then if you happen to not have gotten anything, which can happen, because if you
Yeah.
think then you get to go to Dr. Unlucky, is he called? Or
Yeah.
Dr. Yeah. And
I
those
think so.
cards there that you can take. And those are kind of cool cards because they can like give you something right away or like make something more valuable and things like that. And so you kind of just keep going and doing rounds until a certain thing ends the game. I think one of the stack of cards is gone or the gold's gone is another trigger, but it's just like kind of it's a lighter game, but it's still like strategic, but it's got a party vibe to it. So it's not,
Mm.
it doesn't feel like a head down Euro game. It's just kind of a fun party game, but with still some cool strategy in it, just trying to figure out what you want to do with your dice. And I mean, it's neat if you use, there's poker chips here. Obviously, you're using poker chips. Because I
You
must have,
had them in there.
yeah,
You yeah.
I left them in there because they're not the greatest quality ones, but they're still cool. They're better than using the paper money, I think.
Honestly,
And they just
100%.
feel like you're playing poker and stuff too. But it's a neat game. And yeah, I do want to play this again because it's fun. And I've only played it with, I think, max 3 people. I'd like to play it at like full player count because
Nice, yeah.
I think it would be interesting. But yeah, that's my number 8, Dicetown.
Great pick. This is one that my family definitely like enjoyed. It's a neat one. All right. My number 8 is 3,000 Scoundrels. This is now it's a Western game. Definitely is a Western game, but it's a Western game with a weird backstory to it. Like there's time travelers that have arrived into your Western town and they've left, but the technology they brought got left behind. And we're trying to pillage the stuff they've left behind before the like federal government comes and cleans it up. And because there's value to it. So that's kind of the background story of what this is. I mean, so it's almost like Back to the Future, but we're the Western, and then they've come back and left all this behind. But what's neat with this one as well is all the different characters that you're going to play. You have your character on the card. They're just like in like underwear, and you put them in the sleeves, and it adds like an ability to them, and it gives them like a job or something, and then they have like the outfit, so it dresses them when you slide it in, and then you have the characters with like the job ability, and then it kind of gives them different things going on. So it's like a card crafting game, and that's where the name comes from, because you'll get up to 3,000 different variety that could happen as you play. And then you have these different cards that you're going to be collecting and adding onto your tableau, like your player board, because you have now it looks like there's 6, but I think it's 5. Like there's one I think is printed on your board, and you can add 5 different character onto your player board. But you also have the poker hand element to it, where you're going to have cards in your hand, and you're going to place them face down. Says, okay, well, I'm going to play the 3. And you place it face down in front of the 3 because you want to activate that 3 action, which will activate your characters that have that number assigned to them. So depending on which card you activate, what action you can do. Now, I may or may not have a 3, right? So I might have said, okay, I'm going to play a 3, but I could be bluffing just because I want to do the 3 action, but I only had a 5 or whatever. Like I didn't have the 3 in my hand. And the other players could be like, okay, I think she does have a 3. Or could be like, no, you don't, and challenge it, right? And then if they challenge it, then I would have to reveal. If I'm incorrect, I lose points. If they're incorrect, they lose points. Like whoever's was wrong in the wrong, like kind of takes a penalty to it. But there's different thing that happens. And then there's the 3 locations on the main board as well that have a bunch of safe. And those are the items that have been left behind. And each areas have a different range of points of what the things are worth. Like the first one, I think, it doesn't go as high, but there's more higher valued items that was left there. While the other ones, like the last one, I think has a wider range. It goes from like 2 points to 7 points. And you have room for 3 items on your hand. So you want to go and try to collect these different things. So you can peek, and then like that's one other thing you can do is peek, and then you have these tokens that you can put a token on. It's like, oh, that one was a 3, so I could put a 3 on it. Or maybe it's a 2, and it's like the crappiest card on there. I was like, ooh, that one was okay, pretty good. I put it down and I put a 5 on it. So to kind of help me remember, it's like, okay, well, is it a 5? And it wasn't. It's a 2. But I could try to get people to pick this one over, or maybe I really have a bad memory, which I do, and I am in fact putting a 5 there, so I know it's a 5 or whatever, right? Like, so there's a bit of a bluffing element to it. So it has like a combination of a few different things. And it's very Western theme with like a twist. So it's an interesting game. And that is my number 8, 3,000 Scoundrels.
Yeah, I haven't tried this one. I have to. Is it what's the player count on this? Oh, it looks like it's 2 to 4, or is it 3 to 4?
2 to
It's two to
4.
four. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like the Initiative? That's the same designer as the Initiative.
Oh,
And
okay. Oh yeah,
yeah,
Corey Knichka.
yeah,
Cool. Mm.
yeah.
All right. My number 7 is Coloma. Now this one is also dripping in Western theme. It's not, I don't even own this one, but you're
Mm-hmm.
basically like playing as a pioneer. You're trying to like start up in a new town in South Fork, I think, of the American River. And it's, you're trying to like pan for gold and just make it rich and make a name for yourself. And how you do this is you all have these little dials that you're going to choose an action and then reveal it, like so kind of face down, reveal it. And then you're going to place your little meeples on this little rondelle on the board. Well, it's not really a rondelle, it's just a wheel. And it's kind of
A
neat because
wagon
it's a
wheel, yeah.
magnetic wheel. And
Oh,
now
cool.
yeah. So if you have chosen the same action as other people, it's going to be a lesser action. But if you chose something alone, you're going to get like the stronger, you'll get both actions in the orange and the yellow because there's two kind of areas in the wheel each. And basically the things you can do is you can go up to kind of an area control spot. There's like a little map on the top left corner and you can go around to these spots and place your tents. You can also get things there. You can go to the I forget what area it is called, but where you can place your little meeples and try to have an area control there as well. You can go and pan for gold. You can go build buildings, and these are kind of cards you're going to build that'll kind of build your engine. There's what other actions? Now I forget what other actions you can do, but now all these things are going to kind of intertwine. So there's goals you're trying to reach kind of each round. I believe there's only 3 rounds in this one. And then at the end of the round, you're kind of going to go through some of the areas and figure out who's got the most of whatever is supposed to be there. You're going to, the gold at the top is kind of, you can go and purchase it too or sell it depending on how much is up there, because it's kind of got that little market like Brass Birmingham where if they're there they're worth less, but if you have more, or sorry, if you have less there they're going to be worth more. If you have a whole
Oh, okay,
bunch there they're
right.
worth less, so it kind of goes that
The
way.
supply and demand, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a supply and demand thing. And it's just a really neat game. Like the different cards you can buy are like horses and things that are going to help you. And it's just, I don't know, it just has that whole feel to it, like in the theme of everything. I haven't played this in a long time. Cherry owns this one, and
Oh,
she was
neat.
thinking of selling it because we hadn't played it in a while. I'm like, no, this one's so good. So we'll have to all play that when we can get together because
Yeah.
it's a it's a really tricky one too, because a lot of times you're going to be on a spot where everybody is, and so you're really trying to figure out what nobody's going to do this turn. But typically everybody kind of wants to do similar things. So, do I do this, which I really don't want to do, but then I'm going to get an extra little action there. And then next time, because I know they're gonna all want to build this round or something, and it's really thinky that way, and it's cool. And there's just like a lot going on that you can do different things and maybe work on something different. But it's a neat one, and that's my number 7, Coloma.
You know what we should do is during Stampede season, we should host like a
Yeah,
Western game day
we
and bring
should
that one.
totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty. My number 7 is Unlock Secret Adventures and specifically Tombstone Express. I don't normally put Unlock games in here, but this one like had kind of, I was like, oh, I remember playing that one. That one was like a really cool. So because Unlock, I don't want to give away anything. I'm just going to be showing the Unlock tutorial and kind of show the cards of what this one is. Now the cards are cool because it's all the front of the train, and the train is getting robbed by the, you know, like the cowboys and stuff. So it has that really neat um like our theme to it. So, and in the unlock games, there's a bit almost like of a story that goes on a little bit, but there's all these different puzzles, and it's basically an escape the room, but with card. And what's neat with the unlock one over like the exit one or whatever is once you're done, the game is not destroyed at all. You can pass it on to the next person and play it. Or if you're like me and Carla, just give it a year or two and then you'll forget how it was played and you could play it all over again anyways. Now with the unlock is you're going to have different things that you're going to come across. Like you'll flip a card that'll have a scene. Like that's where you can see the middle one and the sample one, the gray card. And on there, you're going to look and it's going to have different numbers. And then you're going to go and dig through the pile of cards and you're going to pull out these cards and then you can reveal them as you find these numbers. Some of the numbers are going to have like these cards are going to be red cards. Red cards and blue cards are like puzzle piece cards, and you're going to need to figure out what pieces as you go through the game and collect these different cards are going to go with each other. And when you fit them together, it's going to kind of create a number. So you're going to add the numbers together and then you can go and look up that number and see if you got a solution. And then you'll get the green card that shows you, okay, yeah, putting this and this together gave you this. If it's wrong, you'd be like penalty, because there are penalty cards in there that's going to add to your time. It's like, oh no, we messed up and you wasted time. And because there's a time crunch to this. You're also going to come across some of the yellow cards where there's a certain puzzle to solve with this one. And there'll be some, like each unlock games do something a little bit different. And sometimes there's things where you got to do and then you solve it. And then it was just a time waster. And you just got to try to solve it as fast as you can before you can move on. And I was like, really? That didn't give us anything? It just slowed us down. I was like, okay, quick, let's get going. And I adore these type of games. I absolutely love them. And the fact with the unlock that you can pass them on and kind of everybody can play is really, really cool. And this one specifically, so the Secret Adventure Tombstone Express was very thematic with a neat Western theme to it.
Yeah, I played this one and I remember liking it, but I don't remember a thing about it, like about the actual game. So I could
I
totally play
remember
this one
very
again.
little. So yeah, me and you could totally play this one again. Yeah.
We could play these once a year and it would be fresh and new. All right, my
Oh,
number
that's funny.
six
Having bad memories
is,
paying off.
yeah, it works for board games, is Carson City, the card game. Now, I've played the big game version of this, which I did like as well, but I actually prefer this version, probably because it's an easier solo game I can play. Now, this one is neat because you are playing as a suit. You each have a suit of cards, and the suits are like cowboy hats, cowboy boots, um, what's some other
Me,
ones in there?
shoe horse.
Like the sheriff badge, the yeah, horseshoes and all kinds of different things. But you each have a suit of cards, which is basically numbers from 1 to 11, I believe. And everyone's going to choose a card. Well, first you're going to see the market. So there's a market of cards, and there are these 4x4 squares on each card. And in those are different pictures of things that are going to be like a bank, a house, a mine, a ranch, just different things. And some of the spots in those squares are going to be blank. And then you're going to have a person there as well that's going to be give you a player power. Now, the deck that flips the person on the back of it, it shows the values of kind of a ranking order of the suits that'll happen that round. So now everybody's going to choose a
Oh.
card from their hand, deciding like there's a card I really want there, so I'm going to put a high card down. And then you're all going to flip your cards, and then you're going to go in order of who had the highest. They get to choose a card first. Now, if you tied with somebody, you just look on the ranking card and see who ranked higher. So it's an easy tiebreaker. And then they get to choose. And then you're just going to take this and put it in your town, this card. And they just kind of will lap over each other or beside each other. They all line up very easy because they're 4x4 squares. And each of those buildings wants to be next to or not next to certain things. Like a ranch kind of wants space, it doesn't want anything around it. The bank wants to have houses around it. That so does the church, I believe, and just different things like that. So you're trying to, line things up well. And so there's two different eras because the first era you use these number one cards, and then they kind of get juicier in the second era. And the player cards that you take, sometimes they can only be used once, or they can be used once per era kind of thing, or once per turn. And it might let you jump ahead and grab a card even though you were ranked really low or something. And it's just a real simple rule game. But the puzzliness of trying to plan out your cards, because once you've played them and put them in spot, they're done, they're there. And then at the end you're just going to score like how you placed all your cards. It's just a neat one, and it's like cool little art that is very Western and kind of that old kind of sepia a little bit color to it,
Mm-hmm.
and simple art on the cards that you're going to be placing, but just one of those satisfying games. Like when I see this art, it kind of makes me think of westerns, how they started in black and white, and then they kind of went to like sepia, and then they kind of went a little bit color. Because when I was a little girl, and my dad, he just loved westerns, so I would watch those all the time with him, and he would talk about the olden days. And so I, in my childhood brain, thought they were not in color, like everybody was just in their browns
We
and
gained our
white.
color as time went on.
Yeah. And then we started watching Little House on the Prairie, and I'm like, huh, that's weird that they had color there. Like, and so then I think I asked him, I was like, how could they have colored dresses there? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I thought it was just black and white here. Like, no good. He's like, no. Like, where did you get that from? Like, well, because we always watch all the Westerns. And he's like, yeah, that's because they didn't have color TV then. I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought it was like old, like just gray and drab back in those olden
Oh, that's
days,
funny.
But
Yeah.
so this kind of brings me back because then it started to like get a little bit of color. But
That's
it's
good.
a really neat game. And that's my number 6, Carson City, the card game.
That's a cool looking game for sure.
Yeah.
Neat. All right. My number 6 is Bang the Dice
There we
Game.
go.
Yes, it is on my list a little bit higher than yours because this game is so good. And this is a game that I get to the table often. And it's funny, like doing this list now, I was like, oh, I should bring this to the library game day. So now No Mercy and this one are going to be at the library soon here because I think those would just go over so well there. But with Bang the Dice Game, as you mentioned, it's just kind of everybody has a role. Based on your role, you're trying to get rid of the outlaws or the renegade, or get rid of the sheriff, or be the last man standing, and then you roll the dice. And it's funny because there's bluffing involved in this, right? You're gonna roll the dice, and I'm gonna shoot somebody who previously shot the sheriff. And it's like, don't worry, Sheriff, I got your back. I'm going to shoot that person because I think they obviously are an outlaw. And I'm acting as if I'm the deputy, but really I'm the
Bluffing.
renegade. I just want
Yeah.
everybody dead anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
so until like you turn and then all of a sudden I'm shooting the sheriff. It's like, oh, I thought you were my deputy. And I was like, oh, did you? What made you think that? Because only the sheriff is revealed, right?
Mhm.
But the whole game is so satisfying. I remember first Christmas I spent at Lee's mom and dad. We brought this game, and his sisters were there with their family. And we ended up playing Bang the Dice Game like 15 times. I had brought other games, but they're like, no, let's play again and again and again. And we played this one all night long, and it was just a blast. It's such a neat game, and super thematic with the Western theme. And it's just one of those kind of perfect game that will be in my collection forever, as most of my games, I guess. That's my number 6, Bang the Dice Game.
Awesome. All right, my number 5, I'm hoping is another crossover because then you'll get to talk about a little more. But this is Tiny Epic Western for me. This was one of the first Tiny Epics I had purchased, and just by like watching videos and stuff, I thought this is such a cool idea. Now, the game board is kind of different buildings, but they're just kind of placed out in a circle. And then they have like a little area where you can place your meeples kind of thing. And then there's space in between because every round you're going to place cards in between and then everybody gets a card. And then you kind of choose where you're going to place your posse member or whatever they call them, posse. And so you're going to, wherever you place him, the card you have plus the two cards beside that are kind of your like little mini poker hand, and you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
using that quite a bit. Now, there's different things like if somebody ever comes to your spot, then you have a showdown. Is it called a showdown?
Or
And
duel,
then
or yeah.
yeah, or something. And then you have to like compare or whoever has the best poker hand wins kind of thing, and then the other player I think they lose something. I'm hoping you know more, but I haven't played this in a long time, but I really, really liked it. And the neat thing too is I have well, you have them here too, the little dice bullets. So
Mm-hmm.
in some of the showdowns, I think you roll the dice and they're just these little bullets and there's just like a few numbers on them, but that's what's going to determine outcomes of things. You can buy buildings too, I believe, and and you gain, I forget what it's called, influence. I think in this one they call it influence, and that can help you with kind of end game points and
Mm-hmm.
things. But it's just a really neat how they use your poker hand, and that you're going to use it quite often in different things that happen on the boards. I don't remember what each building does, but I just love the look of it. I loved the play of it. I've only played it at 2 players, so I'd really like to play this at a higher
Oh
player
yeah.
count because I
Yeah.
think it would just get better that way because there'd be more duels and things like that. But it's a really cool little game, and I love this one, and that's Tiny Epic Western.
That is such a cool game and definitely thematic, and those dices are
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, cool pick. I approve. My number 5 is Dice Throne, specifically Gunslinger.
Oh
And
yeah, I didn't even
now
think of
Dice
that.
Throne Season 2, if you get the battle chest, you get all 8 characters, but you can buy them in duos where you get 2 characters at a time. This one here is the Gunslinger versus the Samurai. And they have different kind of pair ups, but I have the battle chest, so I have all the characters. And the Gunslinger specifically is like the Western character. And that's one thing that I think Dicestone does so well is each character is kind of twisted up a little bit to really represent the theme that they are. So with Gunslinger, like the dice, first of all, like have all like the because what is there? Like you have the bullet. Um, I don't know
Yeah,
what
I've
the
played
yellow
this one.
thing
I
is.
really
Oh, I think
like
it's a
her
gunshot,
too.
and then you have like a wheel. And they're the different symbols that you can get. The defense, like because the way that Dice Realm works, it's Yahtzee battle style. I prefer it 1 versus 1. You could play more melee, like, and that's perfectly fine as well. You start with a certain health, and it's battle to the death. The last standing player is the winner. You have cards that'll allow you to do different actions. Some of them will allow you to kind of get more combat points, which is how you're going to purchase cards. You're going to have some that are more to mitigate the dice roll that'll allow you to extra re-rolls or to change the value of your dice or to change the value of another player's dice so they can't do the action they were trying to get or different things like that. And then you'll have some upgrade cards that you can actually place on your board to upgrade because on your board you have all these different areas, and each area is like an attack that you can do, and it'll show the symbol that is required to do it. But if you do an upgrade, you can put it on there, and it makes that attack stronger. Or it could also add a new attack that you can do, so you can upgrade your character as you play as well. And then you're going to roll the dice. In Yahtzee style, you're going to roll up to 3 times, trying to activate one of these locations. And once you activate one, say, okay, great, I'm attacking you with 8 attacks. So you're getting hit by 8. And that's where you can activate your green areas. Well, hold on, I'm going to defend against that, unless it's undefendable. But you're going to defend against it. And with Gunslinger, the defense is a duel. So I'll roll a dice, you roll a dice, and then whoever wins the duel, kind of will affect how the attack goes. But it's artwork in all of the different characters is so cool. Like, they're beautiful, beautiful artwork. This, for such a luck driven game, it's unreal at how well balanced each characters are. Mm-hmm. And Dice Throne is one of my favorite. Like, it's a game that I absolutely enjoy. It's so good and so thematic with all the different characters, and definitely Gunslinger does a really good job at representing the Western theme. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, I find Dice Throne, it's so awesome. And you'll sometimes have characters that they don't have a lot of, like, you can't gain health back, and you're like, well, how am I ever gonna do anything? But they have really easy attack, where some other ones can't attack that well, but then they have a really easy way of gaining health. So you really have to play your character. Like, you really have to look at what they can do and play that well, and that's how they're evenly matched. Because if you don't, and you're playing the same way as the other player, it's not gonna help you, because I know I've played with my husband lots, and sometimes he's like, well, this one, he doesn't even attack well, but he could gain health so easily. So I'm like, that's how it's balanced, because you can gain your health back, I can't. So it's
and
so
they
clever.
do a really good job at indicating the complexity of each character that you can play.
Yeah.
And then they'll have kind of a Q&A on the back, kind of give you kind of a bit tips and things to kind of help you figure out how to play your character. They've done a really good job with this game.
Yeah, they have. We should sometime try a tournament, because I think it would be fun if we kept one character for a few games and just really, really worked that one. But yeah, we'll have to try that sometime for sure.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is of expansion to a game that is also, to me, Western themed, because it's about casinos. And when I think of casinos, I always think of, of course, Las Vegas. And Vegas, like the olden days when they had the casinos, they were basically saloons. So it was a saloon cross casino. But in all the Westerns I watched, there was always casinos / saloons. Now this one is Lords of Vegas. And now I have Americana, because that's the expansion that has the Western one in it, which is called Tombstone. So you can see on there, if you're watching, there's 4 different ones in there. Reno could also be Western as well, but I chose Tombstone because it's very, very Western themed. Did I send you a picture of, I think I sent you a picture of the game board and stuff for Tombstone. Oh, there we are. Okay. So what this one is, now if you've played
Tombstone,
yes, this is Tombstone. So if you've ever played Lords of Vegas, you're basically trying to control different casinos. And how you do that is every round, or on your turn, you're going to flip a card, and whatever grid number that is, you're going to gain that parking lot, because as of now, they're just parking lots. Then, depending what color that was, it's going to pay everybody out. So if it's a certain color of casinos and people have those casinos, whoever is in charge of them, the boss of them, they are going to get points and also payment. And then if you even have a parking lot in that color, you're going to get payment as well. Or you just get paid for your parking lot, sorry, because they're not colors until you make them a casino. Then you're going to do your actions. And so, what you do with your actions is you're either going to build a casino, you're going to sprawl a casino, meaning if you're next to somebody else, you can change the color of it to match theirs to hopefully eventually take over theirs. You can you can go gambling. You can, in this one, you can ante up, which is to you buy another card because, again, this is a game where your poker hand is going to be used a lot in the game. And how it's going to be used is if somebody comes to gamble at your casino, it's basically you're going to play your best poker card and they're going to play theirs, and whoever wins that is going to win the money. You're going to use your poker hand for if you're trying to take over another casino instead of dice, because typically the base game in this, it's always about rolling dice, whereas this one, it's your poker hand. So you're trying to develop a really cool poker hand. Now, if you end up winning, you lose that poker hand and have to basically start over. But if you lose, you get to keep you give up your card, but you get to take another one. So it's not cheap to have cards because they cost 5 million or however you want to use the five in this to gather it. Now, there's also these little characters on the board, and they're all like famous Western people, and you can gain them by using an action to purchase or hire them or whatnot, and then you have them until somebody else chooses to duel you, and they could get them with a better poker hand. It's just a really neat game. I don't know if you've ever played just the base game of Lords of Vegas.
I have not.
I can't even believe you. We have to play this.
Right.
Yeah, this has to be played because there's so many different versions of it to play. But I think this was my number one takeover from Monopoly because it's,
okay, yeah.
kind of the same thing where you're controlling things, but this one's it adds a little bit of luck, obviously, with the gambling in it, but it's just a really neat way to play a game and not as boring as Monopoly to me. But this one is awesome because your player pieces are little men on horses, and so that's how you move up in your scoring track. And the scoring track is really neat because at the beginning, if you're the boss of the casino and there's 5 places in the casino, you get 5 points, so you move up. And then eventually, I don't know if you can tell on the board, but some of the points will start to go 2 points and then 3 points and then 4. That's how they jump up. So if I only gained 3 points that turn and I needed 4 to jump up, I don't jump up. So you really need to build your casinos, and you can build them up as well. You can start to put layers on them so that they're more valuable. And it's just a really neat game, and it's a classic. This is an older game that has been around a long time, and they finally remade it, and they added this cool expansion with different like boards that you can play, and they all kind of play a little bit different. And they added poker chips. I didn't get the one with poker chips. These are my iron clays, which work perfectly fine. But
Perfect.
when you play a casino game, I feel like you have to play with poker chips. Almost even a Western game. But this is my number 4, Lords of Vegas, the Tombstone version of it.
I almost bought this game.
Did
almost. You? Arsene was selling it when we were doing the Show Me Your Shelfie with Arsene, and I was like, I really shouldn't. And it was like shortly after Christmas, and because my games were all packed up, I had gone crazy with buying games. I was like, I really shouldn't buy another game, and I regret it now. I regret it so much.
It'll come to you one day. Not mine. I won't sell mine.
It's meant to be. It'll find its way.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is Tiny Epic Western.
Perfect.
So we played this one not too long ago. Me, Kayla, and Travis decided to do like a Tiny Epic couple game days. We're not even done. We need to finish our Tiny Epic game days. But Western is one that I bought fairly early on, and it's one of my favorites out of this series. And like you mentioned, it's so cool. Like you have your building now, depending on the number of players you have. If you got less than 4, then you're going to turn it over to like the CPS side. So then you have less active buildings per se, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
worker placement. So you're going to go on every different location. You could do where you do the right away action and you activate what the building card is there, and then they get, as we buy new buildings, like you replace them. So the action there is going to change based on the buildings you've acquired, if you've acquired any. And or you can kind of go for the like the other action, and then you can kind of put your meeple where it's on one side or the other to kind of activate what you're going to get. But then you can get challenged there, right? And that's where your poker hand is going to determine whether you get that ability or not. And it tends to give you better resources, like you're going to collect a resource. Now the resource you have, like the sheriff badge, or it's like the pistol wheel or whatever, that's going to move up. You have the coin, and you have, I think it's a bullet or something. Oh no, so the sheriff badge and the gun thing and the coin is the three resources that you're collecting. And through to Tiny Epic is you have a grid and you move these tokens up and down depending on how much you have. And then the buildings that you purchase will have different symbols on it. And whoever kind of wins the and poker hand will determine which symbol they want to move forward. And then at the end, you'll have like one that's in first position, one that's in like second position, and one that's going to be in third position. When they've kind of reached those positions, that triggers the end of the game. And that determines the value for those symbols, which are represented on your building. So if you've collected a lot of like the purple icon, then you're going to try to make so that the purple has the higher value, because that's going to give you the most points at the end. It's just a really neat, interesting game. You build the board to make it look like a wagon wheel, and the art is cool. The bullet dice are unreal. They've brought them back in Tiny Epic Crime, so you have bullet dice in that one as
Oh,
well.
nice.
But they're so cool. Such a great game. Absolutely love it. And somebody gave me 2 bonus dice. So now I have it so that each player has their own bullet dice. Because if you challenge each other at the same location, you'll duel for who gets to stay there and stuff. But yeah, great game. So thematic with the Western theme. And that is my number 4, Tiny Epic Western.
Awesome. I knew this one would be on. There's one more I think will be on your list, so we shall see.
We shall
Okay, my number
see.
3 is a roll and write, and this is, or a flip and write, I should say. And this one is Fliptown. Now, they had originally put this on Kickstarter, I believe, and you could just purchase like a print and play version of it, which I think I
Oh, okay.
did. And but then I wanted the hard copy, like the prettier version of it. It is kind of just in a like 3 different colors, like it's just basically those tones of the game. But it is such a cool flip and write. Now this one you don't use dice at all. You're using cards, and the cards are neat because they give you a deck of cards, and you use they're like a kind of have a like a Western theme to them if you look at the characters on them. But you're going to flip 3 cards out, and now you're going to choose one of those cards to put in a poker hand. And you will have 5 turns each round, so you'll end up with 5 cards, and that'll be your poker hand. Now, the other 2 is going to be used for which action you're going to do. Now, there's 4 different places to go, and each of them is a suit. So if you're going to go on the trail, you would use a heart. If you're going to go in the Badlands, you're going to use a spade in there, and then the mines or the diamonds, and then if you go into town, it's the clubs. And so you'll choose a suit, and then the card that is beside the suit is the value of what you're going to do. So if right here I have obviously used the ace of hearts as my poker card, and then I chose the club and then a 5. So I'm going to go to the number 5 in the town. And whatever happens there, I will do. And a lot of times that'll maybe trigger something else. But in the town, it'll typically give you a way to get some endgame points, or it'll give you a player power that you can use in one of the other areas, or it'll let you take some of your wanted symbols away and different things like that. Because your different resources in here are money, gold, stars, which are points, and then you have these little wanted signs that you're going to circle, and you don't want those because those will
Oh.
make you, notorious for when the sheriff comes at the end of the round. Now, in each area, the trail is just a straight rondel where you can move as far along as you want, but you can never go back. And every place you go to will give you, either money, gold, points, things like that. There's one other area which is called the cemetery. And so different places on the board will give you that action. And there you can go and just circle something, and you'll always take a wanted, but it'll give you something. Sometimes it'll just give you like an action to do in town or an action to do in the mines or something. So that kind of triggers that over there. But the neat thing is, when you circle it, if it's connected to another circled place, then there's another little bonus in there. And sometimes it's money or gold or stars or something like that. So that can kind of trigger different actions. In the Badlands, you're going to wrangle cattle, and depending what number you have chosen for your number card, that's the different types of things you're going to wrangle. And that's kind of like or sorry, you're not wrangling, you're robbing. Yeah, you're robbing. So you're going to say I went to a number 5, I'm going to flip a card, and if it's 5 or less, I'm not going to have accomplished it. I will take all the wanted and I'll only take half the points. Whereas if I pulled a higher card, that I would actually accomplish that, still get the wanted, get all the points and the money. And
Oh,
then
right.
those, when you complete a row, you get a little bonus there. In the mines, you're going to kind of start at the top and move your way down, getting things. And then at the very bottom row, if you can get there, it's going to give you an end game multiplier for like maybe however many times I was on the trail. So I might want to combine those two. The town I kind of had already explained, but now at the end of the round, it's neat because you have this one card that you've flipped face down. Nobody's seen it unless they've went to one place in the town where you can peek at the sheriff card. But the sheriff is going to come and arrest people. Now, if the card that the sheriff card is lower than however many wanted I have, I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to lose a bunch of points or money. But if it's not, then I don't lose anything. Now, you can use gold to bribe the sheriff for that round and say, like, I could spend 4 gold, which would basically knock off just for this round. I don't actually get to cross them off. Some of my wanted, so maybe I only have 2 wanted now. And I flip the card and it's a 5, so I'm safe. He hasn't arrested me. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next round, you're going to do the same thing. The wanted will stay there. So next round, I might have 10 wanted. And now I'm like, oh, do I gamble that sheriff card is higher than 10? That's unlikely. So sure, I'll bribe him at least 5, right? Well, now I flip a card and it's 2. Well, now I'm arrested.
You.
And every round it gets higher. Like the first round, I think it's like 8 points you lose or 10 money. And then it's like higher every round. So you really don't want to get arrested and lose all those points. It's a really cool little, combo-y one where, if you do something here, that's going to give me this action, that's going to give me this one and that one. And it's just so fun. And it's a perfect solo game. They actually made a little lone gun solo campaign that you can go through. And kind of, you have to like accomplish something. Like the first game is you have to like complete the trail, so you have to get to the end of the trail, but you don't want to just jump ahead because the ones that you skipped are going to cost you money to do that. So it's neat how they'll like give you a goal to reach and then you kind of go for that. And so every game will be a little bit different, but it's a really cool flip and write. And that's my number 3, Fliptown.
So is this a solo only game?
No, it's a multiplayer game. They
Oh,
just had made a because there's not a whole lot of interaction in this one. Like
right,
there's no, I don't think you can really affect other people with your stuff other than you can be arrested and stuff like
right,
that. But yeah, it's basically a solo. I mean, a lot of the roll and writes are that way. It's just whoever
right.
got
Like
the
a
most
solo
points.
play that we all play together,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
basically.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Neat. That's a really cool looking game. Like
yeah, it
for a
is.
flip and right, that's really Western looking. That's
Yeah.
cool. All righty. My number 3 is The Great Western Trail, El Paso. You brought this game over last time we had like a little game marathon. We ended up playing it, and it was really cool. I had played Great Western Trail, I think, once a long time ago at my brother's, and this kind of made that game a little bit more manageable, I guess. Like it was easier to play. Now, granted, when I played Great Western Trail, I was like newly into the hobby. It took us a long time to figure out how to play. And it was interesting. But this one was also very interesting because just the big chunky meeple, and you're kind of going around and around and around on this board. And where you end up with you activate, and then the different, because it had like a deck building element to it where you're acquiring cards and then you're activating these different cards, and then depending on what you have, what you can do. It was really, really cool. Now, this game is a little bit not poorly made, but it's not a great production for what it could have been. And I think some of the things that we had in here, you had upgraded from your Great Western Trail games, and you used the components from that game into this one to just kind of bring up the production a little bit. Is the board game, like the board of this game, like a cloth? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's a cloth. Yeah.
I don't love that. And I don't
Yeah.
love that in any game. To me, it's like, well, then I need to have like an iron board next to my table to kind of flatten it out. But so, and I think some people like that. I don't like cloth boards, which this one have. But despite that, the gameplay was really cool. And it was neat, like, because you're like the action, like the deck building, I think that was kind of my favorite, like kind of trying, because there's some really great cards, but they're more expensive, so you really need to build up the money so you can buy that card. Now you have this great card, but then you're trying to, for it to come up at the right time. And like there's sometimes where you'd be like, I could go this way or I could go this way. Well, I've activated stuff this way, so I want to go that way and try to get this. And it was neat. It was neat. Like you can see very loosely, like mostly like going around the board. That kind of matches the Great Western Trail. Otherwise, I think this game played very different from the other one. Like, I mean, you had the cow still that you're collecting and that you can sell once you kind of reach the top, and then you're selling the cows, and that's how you're kind of building up your money and stuff. And depending on the type of cow that you have, the Charolais, the Simmental, whatever, the Angus, like depending on the type of cows that you have, the value that they had. But it was really cool. I quite enjoy this one. I just wish it wasn't a cloth board myself. But that's my number 3, Great Western Trail, El Paso.
Yeah, good choice. All right, my number 2 is a tile laying game, like a polyomino tile laying game. And this one is called Wild Tiled West. Now, this one I had put off getting for a while because it was quite expensive for a tile game. I think it was up in the 80s, which, I always feel like, really? For a tile laying game? I don't know. Like, it's tiles. There is resources in this as well, though, and they're very cute as well. But then it went on sale, and I think I got it for at least 20 off. So I ended up purchasing it, and wow, did I love this game. It is such a cool way to play a Western game. Now, what you do is you all have these big square player boards, and they're all different and unique. And you're trying to like cover as many towns that you can in there, cities, whatever they want to call them. And they are kind of outlined in a darker, they have like a darker shaded area, and so you can clearly see where the towns or cities are. But you have to start in the middle. So what happens is you're going to roll a bunch of these dice depending on player count, and they are going to be placed on the central board. The central board is a bunch of boards pushed together that make up the river and the land, and they're all have tiles in them, and those are just what come out of the box. So it's not like you have to set these up all the time. You literally lift them out of the box and they're all set up. And so you're going to place these dice around the outside of the board, depending on the number you rolled. And so the blue ones will go in the river and the green ones on the land. And so you're going to choose a dice on your turn, and you're going to take whatever dice you take. It's the tile that is right next to it, depending on the color, is what is going to be free. Unless it has a gold cost to it. Now, in the river, you can actually skip, like you would skip a rock and pay gold to choose one that are further down. Now, if there's some tiles that are empty, you kind of skip that spot as well. But whatever you choose, you're going to take and place on your player board. And what you're trying to accomplish is you're trying to like cover up all the different horseshoes. You're trying to cover up different symbols that will give you bonuses. Like I said, you're trying to complete those cities, cover them up because those will give you big points. You're trying to get like a big ranch with cows that is connected, and then you're going to wrangle them, and then you don't want anything touching them similar, or any other cattle touching them, because you want to have separate ones, because every time you wrangle one, it's done. And if you ever connect more cows to it, you can't wrangle them because they're in the same ranch basically. So there's all kinds of things going on, because there's going to be bandits on some of these tiles, and you're going to try to line up the sheriff next to them. And then you need to have a bullet in order to shoot the bandits. And then the bullets just turn into tombstones. So then once you've shot the bandit, you place the tombstone on the bandit. You're going to try and move up your little gold track, because that's going to give you kind of more income of gold, and will give you, if you can get higher to the top, you're going to get some end game points. You're going to hire helpers, which are different cards that might be like a set collection thing, or they might just kind of give you a multiplier for an end game scoring if you can accomplish that. You're going to also try to build different buildings that are going to give you points or in-game bonuses. There's one building that's neat. It's really tiny, and you get it. And then in another time in the game, you can use it to just grab any tile off the board and place it. And that can be valuable kind of near the end of the game. You're going to each do a couple turns, and then you kind of get to the end of the path, and you're going to, I forget what they call it, but you're going to figure out who has the most bandits in their player board showing, and whoever does is going to lose some points, and then whoever has the most is going to lose some points, and whoever has the least is going to gain some points, but they're also going to gain a bandit that they have to place on their board. You're going to try to collect these little card suits around, because those are a set collection. If you have 4 of the different suits, you'll get a bunch of points, or if you have 4 of the same, you'll get a bunch of points, and even if you have like 2 or 3 as well. So there's a lot going on, but the tiling, tiling, you've almost just got me at that. And then to add all this other stuff in is so neat. It's a really cool little game that we've played, and I've played it with multiple people, and I think everybody that we've played with has liked it so far. Even John, I played it once with him, and I typically just, throw new games at him. But he's like, I want to play that tile one again we played with the Western thing. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't know you liked it that much, but it's usually a hit. But that's nice. My number 2, Wild Tiled West.
Yeah, and I can see, like, this is a well-produced game. Just the fact that you don't have to sort all those tiles, you can just get it to the table and play. The recess boards, all the different tiles, I think it's worth the price tag.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, my number 2 is Dicetown, which I got from Carla. And this is just such a neat game. Like the rolling of the dice, the little cup with the little symbol on it, and then kind of deciding is like, okay, well, what do you want to keep? Like, are you keeping to try to win the majority, or are you keeping to activate the different location? And which location do you think they're going to go for? It's like, well, I doubt they'll go for this. So the whole thing works so well, and the theme, and then the look and the art is so neat. The little gold nugget that you collect, because you could go to the mine and collect that. The poker chips, because you can go and rob the bank, but is there a lot of money at the bank that round or not? And then, as you do things, some like the money will get kind of build up there as well. So that's interesting. it's just such a satisfying game. Now you've talked about it, so I'm not going to cover everything in great details. But it's just one of those games that is so pleasant to play. And I'm so glad I have this one. And now, like, looking at him getting like, it's like, oh yeah, we should play that again. And it's just, yeah, like, because the dice, the poker, the gold mine, like the poker chips that you've added to this game, like everything in this really screams Western. It combines a lot of those things. But it's a really neat, fun games. And then you have like the wanted people that you can kind of turn into the sheriff and get the bounty for, and all these things. So very, very neat. Really, really enjoy this game. And that is my number 2, Dicetown.
Awesome. And I do remember that I tracked down every possible expansion for this game. So you have everything in there that
Oh,
possibly
okay.
came with it. Yeah. And there's like 3 or 4 of them. And they're just like mini ones, but they add some
Right.
cool stuff to it. All right, my number 1 is also a crossover. And this is actually basically the whole Great Western system. I chose this one because at this point in time, this is my favorite, and I might get some backlash because people will be like, "What?" I know some people have played this, and this is Great Western Trail El Paso, and they've said it just makes me want to play the bigger version. I haven't played the
Yeah.
bigger version in a while, which I really do like. But what I really like about this one is it's like I can play it solo and it's such a good solo version. But even to play with people, it's a quicker version of the game. It has some similarity, but it has a different feel as well. But the best thing about this is the deck building part is building up the workers, because in the big game the workers, you
Mm-hmm.
use them and they're gone kind of thing. But or you it's kind of different because you do have them if they're on your board, but then sometimes you need to spend them and they're gone. Whereas here, you spend them when you use them, but then they come back in your deck. And it's so cool because when you draw up to whatever your hand limit is, which is 5, say, then you basically, if you keep drawing workers, they just keep going down and you just keep getting more and more cards. So this one, you are still going around a rondel, and you're going to different buildings. You can build buildings, but here the buildings are communal. Like you don't have your own stack of them. You're going to build them from a central area. And then if you upgrade, they will go back to that area, the one that you upgraded from, so other people can build them. And then you get to El Paso, you have to stop there and you have to sell your cows. And the cows are that part is very similar in this one, where you are trying to acquire different cows, and the more expensive ones are worth bigger points. You have your little goals that you're trying to accomplish, which are similar in the big game, but they're not worth negative points in this one if you don't accomplish them. There's bonus tiles that are really cool in this one, because I don't believe this is in one of the bigger versions. I have played them all, but there's one bonus tile that lets you use cattle of the same kind when you get to El Paso, because typically you have to always only count your unique cattle, and this tile lets you use like one twice. So if you have 2 really expensive cows, you can never use them. And I don't think there's any tiles in those other games. Quote me if I'm wrong. But this one, you can actually use those juicier cows. That sounds bad coming from a vegetarian, but the juicier cows that you can
Oh,
use
that's
them
funny.
twice when you go to El Paso. And yeah, it's a much quicker version. Still gives me the same feel right now, but I mean, I'm sure if I went and played the big game now, I'd go, okay, no, I like that. I like it much more because it has so much more depth to it. But this one I just love, and I absolutely hate the production of it. Like you said, that cloth mat, I hate it. But I have kind of flattened mine out. And so when it goes in the box, I don't really fold it so that it has that crease. I kind of put things in the middle so that it kind of sort of has just a curve to it, so not so much like a crease.
Mm,
I usually use my upgraded bits from the bigger game. Like right here, I'm showing you, it shows wooden bits. Those do not come with the game. They're all cardboard. The only wood in this are the meeples. And there's one nice thing. They have little cardboard boxes that store everything. So that's kind of neat in here. But yeah, the cloth mat was a bold choice for this one. And even the price tag they put on this, it didn't reflect the quality of the game, but the actual mechanics and play of the game are fantastic. So if you've ever kind of been on the fence with this one and you would like a quicker version of Great Western Trail that you could maybe introduce to more people, whereas that one is kind of a niche, you can't really just throw that out with the family or something like that. Or if you're a solo player, this is an awesome solo mode to it. And yeah, I just love it. And that's my number one, Great Western Trail, El Paso.
Yeah, the gameplay was really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Great pick. I approve. All right, my number one. Now, I, especially between the two of us, always tend to like and talk about the smaller, easy to play games. And I'm making a change with this one. My number one is a bit of a bigger game, and that is Boonlake. Now, I've seen Boonlake compared to Great Western Trail meets Terra Mystica. And that's actually a really good comparison, I think, for this game. Oops, I went the wrong way. Let me go back here. So in Boonlake, you have so much going on. Like you have the map where you're going to have like tiles that comes out, and based on what there is, you're either going to add like cattle to it, or you're going to add your workers there, and then you can convert your workers into a building, and you can workers those houses like that you've built into a settlement, and you can kind of upgrade very Terra Mystica like on the board. And at Terra Mystica like, as you remove things from your board, that's going to increase your income. When you activate your income, the more that is showing, the more that you get to get from the income. You also have on the side of your player board all of these different like window looking thing, and those are like different special abilities that you can invest in, and it kind of adds a lever that you're going to put in there, and if you activate it, you're going to push this lever up, and it kind of covers to show that you've activated that. But if you don't use it at the end of the round, it's going to give you points. So there's special abilities that you get from it, but if you have it and don't use it, then you get bonus points. And the action selection in this one is so satisfying. You have all the different action. And what's cool with it is you get to pick the action that you want to do. So you're going to take the tile, lift it up, bring it to you, and you get to do the main action. Then everybody, including you, get to do the secondary action as well. So kind of Puerto Rico style, where you get the bigger the action, but everybody gets to do a version of it, will happen. And then once everybody's done the action, you get to move along the river, and depending on where the action tile came from, how far you can go. So if I'm like, I don't know, 4, then I can move from where I'm at up to the 4 different locations. Now, some areas will allow multiple boats to go on. Some areas only allows one. So then you're going to go, and then that's going to give you like a resource or something that you get to acquire from that. And then that tile goes into the bottom and it flips up. Now, it kind of has those where there's like a penalty for taking the bottom 2 tiles. So if there's a really popular action you were hoping to do, somebody else did it, you could do it, but then there's a penalty, and the river value kind of decreases. Like, oh man, I was really hoping for that higher river value, and now there's a penalty, so maybe I'm not doing that action right now, and you would kind of select a different action. So that whole aspect is very interesting. You also have these barge on your building, on your player board, that you can, like, it starts at one location and you can move them up, and then you can kind of add a tile to it, and that's going to give you different things. You can upgrade it eventually, and you can move this barge up, but it costs to move it down. So, and then that kind of gives you different things. I think it's during the income phase where you would get to collect where they're at. So that's also really interesting. And then you have like end of game scoring, where at the start of the game, you're going to have different tiles to decide what you're going to score on. And you're going to look at the cards that you have. And the cards have different time value. Like you'll have like a daytime, you have a dusk, you have a nighttime, and depending on the action tiles that you select, some will be like you get to activate or spend a daytime card, or a dusk time card, or a nighttime card. So like there's a lot. Honestly, there's a lot going on with this one, but it's such a neat, interesting game. This isn't one that hits the table often with my regular players, because it's a daunting teach for some of the more casual players. So haven't played this one lots, but it's one that, especially like prepping this list, and we were like, hey, I could record early, but hold on, I need to refresh on a game, and that was this one. I put it at number 1, but needed to refresh on it because I remember I really, really liked it. I don't remember a whole lot about it, so let me kind of watch. I watched a couple of like reviews on it before we did the recording, and then it was like, oh, I really, really, really want to play this one now. So, but it was so cool, because I bought this one from our friend Travis, and it was unpunched, and then I punched it all up and I set it all up and I learned how to play, and I was like, wow. Now I'm a huge fan of Terra Mystica, so that's probably like, I love that style, so I'm really enjoying this style. But I think it's such a neat combination of everything that made such a great game. And that is my number 1, Boonlake. Have you played this one, Carla?
Yeah, I actually ended up selling it, and it was like
Really?
a moment of madness, I think, because I think we had played it and it was frustrating because the end game scoring is quite a bit, and I think I was just, I don't know, in a weird mood, and I'm like, I'm just don't want to do that end game scoring anymore, and I sold it. But what looking at it, I remember the play of it and I do enjoy it. But you have it, so I can always play it if I want to. And I know a way where you could get to play it. You could teach this one at Card Treat if you really want to play it. Then you would
Oh,
get
we
it played for
should.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because we haven't had that one there, and I think, yeah, people will really like it because it's a good one. Like, it's so meaty, and for the reason you had to refresh is it is pretty rule heavy, but
Yeah.
you know, refreshing it wouldn't take too much. Like, you would go, okay, yeah,
It
I
like
remember
it
that and
makes
that and
sense.
that.
Everything
It's
works
just, yeah,
well.
yeah. No, it's a
Yeah.
neat game for sure. Yeah, and perfectly Western themed.
Yes.
Awesome. The scoring is neat too, like the little scoring things on how you can, every round, how you score things is kind of cool in that one too. But
Well,
yeah,
because
no, there's a
every
lot
time
going on.
you pass like this thing on the river, it'll
Yeah,
trigger like a mid-game scoring, and then you have your end game scoring. And yeah,
yeah,
it's cool.
yeah,
Everything about this game was cool.
yeah. It's neat, and that's typically like when you said that, I'm like, oh, that's how a lot of the teachers at Car Treat, when they like as soon as I'll announce it, they're like, I want to teach this and this because I know that they're thinking, I want to get this to the table soon, and this is the perfect way. Like, I probably
Right.
can't get it with my family or something, so this is a good time, and I'll make sure I learn it by then, and I will get to play it. So it's a good way to do it. Or just, teach one at a convention if there's a game you're really wanting to get to the table that's a little bit meatier than what your normal playing group will play. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we had a great list. 4 crossovers though. That's
I did. She's like, "Do we
we
have
haven't had
crossovers?" I
that
was
many.
like, "I know we have 2, and there
I
were
guess
some on your
3.
list
Yeah.
that were below in mine. I just didn't make the top 9, but was technically on my list."
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, that's awesome. We haven't had like lately, looking back, we haven't had a ton of crossovers.
Did we have any in our spring game? I went so wild with the spring list though, so I'm not
We did
surprised.
not have any in there. And like lately, other than the Rocky Mountain Retreat, but we all played the same game,
Right,
so
because that
like,
one
cause
we
I
didn't even like. We just talked about every game we played. But yeah,
no, it's been a
yeah,
long time since we've had crossovers. The last
where
time was
we
at
have a lot of
Christmas.
different plays. Oh well, yeah, Christmas that makes sense too,
Christmas
right? That's
games,
such
yeah.
a specific theme.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So our next episode is going to be, we're going to continue on that top 20, or sorry, the yearly one. So we are at 2016 to 2020 is going to be our next one.
Hmm.
And then after that we'll probably just go year by year because it's getting into the
I
modern,
think
like super
2016
modern
to
ones.
2020 is
It's
going to
going to be
be
hard.
tough
Yeah, I think
because
so
there's going to be
too.
so
There's a
many
lot.
great games.
Lots of bangers in there. Yeah, it is going to be
Yeah,
a hard one, but we'll
because
manage.
2017 is when I got into the hobby.
Yeah, I
So
think
then
I
I
was
kind of,
around there too, 2016,
yeah.
2017, one of those. But yeah.
We may have to do top 2016 to 2020 a couple of
Yeah, we'll
times.
have a look. We might have to tweak that. You're right. Might have to look and go. I have 400 games in 2017, so what are we
We
going to do
might.
here?
Oh my God, we might.
We
That's
might.
gonna, yeah, that might be tough. So we might tighten it up if need
Yeah,
be.
yeah. 2018 actually rings a bell for a lot of games. I know there's one year in there where it's like I think a lot of my top 10s are on there or something, but
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. We might
We'll
tweak
see.
it, but
Yeah.
might go 2 years now or something. But until then, where can people find you, Mel?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Mel's underscore board game underscore room. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, and Blue Sky at Mel's Board Game Room. And we also have our Discord for the podcast. And we have been doing BGA Mondays. So definitely join the podcast to join us on the BGA Monday. And I have been on there playing
Mm-hmm.
online. You know what? I don't like online board gaming, but because we chat on the Discord at the same time, it feels more like we're all playing together because it's the social aspect that I miss playing BGA. But with the Discord and playing BGA, that social aspect is still there. So that's kind of completely different feel for me. So I've made my peace with BGA.
Yeah, you like to talk to people while you play. That's
Yeah.
that's
Or
a
sing to them
necessity.
or whatever it is that's
Yeah,
happening.
listen to him. Yeah, no, we were having fun on there. My Monday nights are going to be coming to an end because I'm going back to work at the golf course
Oh
soon, if
no.
we ever get spring here. But I will be there tomorrow night. Oh, I guess when this is out, I will not be there because my
Right.
last one will be then, unless we get some really bad weather and I'm off. But I would
Okay.
still play on BGA with anyone in the turn-based games, so you can always hit me up. I'm at small letters Carly Gino on BGA. So if you want to invite me to a game, I am happy to play because I play a lot of games on there. It's usually my morning breakfast. I do my BGA plays, and then if I have time during the day, I'll do my turns again, and if not, at night. So I usually do at least 2 turns a day on my turn-based games, but
Mm.
I'm happy to play. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Board Game Specialist, all one word, and I'm on Facebook page. I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. Well, until next time, thank you all for listening. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.